Salute everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you guys for tuning in with Switching Lanes with Miss Parker. Miss Parker. I hope everybody's having a blessed day. I'm exhausted. I stayed up kind of late doing research and touching on other stories. But as I've been touching on the Naziah Harris story, I touched on Rika Roundtree, and it's called Failed Systems. And I wanted to kind of recap the Gabriel Hernandez case that I had covered a while back. Thank you, Lady Nika, for becoming a new member. Really, you just renewed it, but thank you, Lady Nika. I appreciate that love. Shout out to Lady Nika in the beef sector. Y'all make sure y'all go sub to Lady Nika over there in the den, okay? That's my girl. Raw, Top Flight. Hey, sister. Love you, sister. I want y'all to just kind of hang and bear with me. Hey, Nola. This case, it's not as down the rabbit hole as the Naziah Harris case, but it is a little sickening. It's not a little sickening, it's way sickening. And again, it's just really telling us that we have to do better. We have to make some changes. We have to stand firm in making changes. Hey, Pooh, sis. Hey, love you, boo. Love you, sister. And I hope you feeling better, sis. But yeah, it's we got to make changes within the system because the Naziah Harris cases in Detroit, Rika Roundtree was in Illinois. Now we're going to California. So we're going to cover these states. We're going to show y'all how failed and flawed the system really is when it comes to these kids and the importance of stop calling CPS. Stop calling CPS. But only use it if you know to save a child's life, such as Gabriel Hernandez, kids that really needed it, but they're gone. They're gone forever. Hey, Miss Tammy. Hey, Colton. Let's get into it and salute everybody. I hope everybody's, like I said, is having a blessed Tuesday, y'all. I'm just kind of, I done took a nap. I done woke up. I'm ready to just take another nap. I'm going to be with y'all later on to go to round two. Part two of Down the Rabbit Hole. Belt System versus the Monsters versus Naziah Harris. So, y'all make sure y'all tune in with me later on, okay? As we go down the rabbit hole with those sickos. But let's get into it. This is the story of young Gabriel Hernandez in California. And a little things I like about this one is because the difference is they were starting to charge some people like in the system and holding them accountable. They was holding these people accountable. Now, whether the charges stick, I never did get to the trial, which is it's a Netflix series about young Gabriel, and I want y'all to go see that and watch that. And it's another one I done, but let's get into it. Not that one. That's another story. Well, y'all, just when I think I did it, I didn't. Maybe this is it. Yeah, this is it. The boy who was brutally tortured and beaten to death by his stepmother.
The victim, Gabriel Hernandez, was 8 years old when he died in May 2013 at the hands of his biological mother and her boyfriend because they believed the boy was gay. Recently, Netflix has recreated this case into a documentary titled The Trials of Gabriel Hernandez, revealing details that have deeply moved and saddened viewers about the fate of the young victim. This incident sparked a wave of outrage across the United States.
Real quick, I let me explain the YouTube goal. You have to explain it. I do have a goal of 5. It's only $2 or higher with a super sticker or a super chat. So if you guys don't mind, if you feel free to help me reach my goal, my Cash App is streaming across the screen. If you feel the need to like the commentary that you're hearing today, please donate to the channel. And thank you so much. And don't forget to hit that like button for you, girl. Hey, Rob.
Posts and hashtags expressing anger and demanding justice for Gabriel have continuously appeared on social media, garnering thousands of shares and interactions. To accurately understand what happened in the case of Gabriel Fernandez, Gabriel Daniel Fernandez was born on February 20th, 2005 in Palmdale, California, to mother Pearl Fernandez and father Arnaldo Contreras. From a young age, Gabriel showed a sweet personality, always caring and loving those around him. People who know him consider him to be a kind person, always willing to help others even though he is very young. In the photos capturing Gabriel's moments, he always exudes happiness and cuteness like any other child. Pearl, Gabriel's mother, grew up in a troubled family in Palmdale. Her father was often in prison, and when Pearl was young, she endured physical abuse from her mother and began abusing alcohol and drugs when she was only 9 years old.
Let's stop right there. The mother, Pearl, started abusing drugs and alcohol at the age of 9. So let's stick right there, because sometimes we... Thank you, D-Money, for helping me reach my goal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I only need 4 more, guys, 4 more. But let's stop right there. 9 years old. Young Gabriel's mother, Pearl, was being abused so bad that she started abusing drugs and alcohol at the age of 9. These cases get sadder and sadder and sicker and sadder.
Impact on her psychological development, causing her to not be able to develop normally and have to drop out of school in the 8th grade. During her teenage years, she revealed that her uncle had tried to abuse her and that she had experienced abuse from a group of men. Her drug and alcohol abuse problems continued into adulthood, and relatives said she was abusive and controlling in all of her relationships. In addition, she was also diagnosed with multiple disorders, including depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Yeah, D-Money, they have to be one at a time. Yeah, but thank you so much. Yeah, they make you do it one at a time. It can't just be like one big, okay, she just needs 5. You know what I'm saying? That's $10 or something. But yeah. But thank you, D-Money. I appreciate you guys. And for everybody that's in here, thank you guys so much for tuning in with me and covering these cases with me and participating, chat participation, and showing your sympathy and empathy for these children. But listen how deep this goes.
SD. Arnaldo, Gabriel's father, went to prison for a long period of time. During his relationship with Pearl, his absence eventually led to the couple breaking up. The couple had 3 children, including Ezekiel, Virginia, and Gabriel, with Gabriel being the youngest. When Pearl discovered she was pregnant with Gabriel, she initially thought about having an abortion, but she ultimately decided to have the baby. However, she did not show any joy when her youngest son was born, did not even want to hug him, and could not show genuine concern for her son. She intentionally left him at the hospital because she didn't want to have another child. This is so pitiful and irresponsible, it breaks my heart. Pearl's family did not object to Gabriel not being raised by Pearl due to her criminal history of child neglect and abuse. Gabriel's uncle, Michael Limos Carranza, and his partner, David Martinez, offered to care for Gabriel because they loved him and wanted to ensure he had a safe environment.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this, start eating more of these. You might think this would take...
Gabriel moved in with his uncle and was cared for 4 years. Gabriel's cousin, Emily Carranza, spent a lot of time with the boy as a child, and although she no longer lived with the family, she saw that Gabriel was truly happy with his uncles. Emily describes how Gabriel played and even helped Uncle Michael organize his birthday parties, demonstrating his love for his family.
Thank you so much, D-Money. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. And to everybody, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
However, in 2009, Pearl's parents, Sandra and Robert, claimed that it was unsafe for Gabriel to live with 2 homosexuals, although there was no evidence to support this. They requested that Gabriel be moved to live with them, but there was no information about Gabriel being harassed while living with his uncle. Mr. and Mrs. Pearl's actions make people feel confused because if they were worried about Gabriel while living with his uncle, why didn't they object from the beginning?
Right. 4 years he lived with his uncle who, lived a sexual lifestyle with another man. Raised him. He was doing beautiful. He was vibrant, helping decorate parties, just getting loved on. And they was against it. They didn't like it. But not only did they dislike the uncle raising him so well, they didn't even keep him. They gave him back to Pearl. Everybody was against Pearl and how Pearl, don't forget she was 9 years old, abusing drugs and alcohol. What you do is very important. Any one of us might need you. Thank you, D Money. Thank you. And I'll be here for each and every one of y'all. Trust me. I'm not stopping until we get justice. Until this stops. Until we clean up the CPS. Until we clean up these dirty cops hiding things. Until we get rid of all these monsters in these families. And all the monsters start getting charged as well. Let's not forget about that.
The fact that Gabriel's uncles are gay does not prove that the boy is in danger. Emily and some other family members do not believe in Michael's ability to cause harm because he loves Gabriel, and he enjoys living with them. Despite this, Michael did not object and let them take Gabriel away. Following that event, Gabriel lived with his grandparents Sandra and Robert for several years. In 2012, at just 8 years old, Pearl wanted to regain custody of Gabriel and her 2 other children because she knew she would receive additional welfare benefits if her children lived with her.
And it keep being in the cases because she knew she would get additional welfare and benefits. Not because she loved them. Not because she finally stepped into motherhood and wanted to raise her babies. Because she could get welfare and food stamps. Yes, Miss Tammy. Trifling witches. I wish the uncle would have fought to keep them. Shaking my head. More money, more drugs. All for the money. All for the money. Hey, Queen Judah. All for the money. Y'all heard that? When I heard it on the Netflix, I was so sick to my stomach.
Her desire was not out of love and concern, but purely for selfish and personal gain. Understanding her motive, Pearl's parents opposed this.
Hold on, guys. I don't know what happened. Give me a second, guys. Let me go back to it. I don't know what happened to my sound. Let me go to the 4-minute mark. Where was
the letter?
Paying your bills on time raises your credit score, right?
Sorry, guys. Y'all hit that like button for me.
One of the 3 major credit score lies.
Before his death, Gabriel looked truly terrible. The letter to the...
I might have to... Okay, guys. I'm going to have to start it from the beginning. I don't know what happened to my sound. But for those that are just coming in, this is the story of young Gabriel Hernandez. I touched on him before, but I want to show y'all how bad that the system fails these children.
At the hands of his biological mother and her boyfriend because they believed the boy was gay. Recently, Netflix has recreated this case into a documentary titled The Trials of Gabriel Hernandez, revealing details that have deeply moved and saddened viewers about the fate of the young victim. This incident sparked a wave of outrage across the United States. Posts and hashtags expressing anger and demanding...
Yeah, the Netflix kind of explains it deeper, than this about the uncle not being able to keep the custody of that child, and that's absolutely what it was.
Justice for Gabriel have continuously appeared on social media, garnering thousands of shares and interactions. To accurately understand what happened in the case of Gabriel Hernandez, Gabriel Daniel Hernandez was born on February 20th, 2005 in Palmdale, California, to mother Pearl Hernandez and father Arnaldo Contreras. From a young age, Gabriel showed a sweet personality, always caring and loving those around him. People who know him consider him to be a kind person, always willing to help others even though he is very young. In the photos capturing Gabriel's moments, he always exudes happiness and cuteness like any other child. Pearl, Gabriel's mother, grew up in a troubled family in Palmdale. Her father was often in prison, and when Pearl was young, she endured physical abuse from her mother. and began abusing alcohol and drugs when she was only 9 years old. This had a negative impact on her psychological development, causing her to not be able to develop normally and have to drop out of school in the 8th grade. During her teenage years, she revealed that her uncle had tried to abuse her, and that she had experienced abuse from a group of men. Her drug and alcohol abuse problems continued into adulthood, and relatives said she was abusive and controlling in all of her relationships. In addition, she was also diagnosed with multiple disorders, including depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Arnaldo, Gabriel's father, went to prison for a long period of time. During his relationship with Pearl, his absence eventually led to the couple breaking up. The couple had 3 children, including Ezekiel, Virginia, and Gabriel, with Gabriel being the youngest. When Pearl discovered she was pregnant with Gabriel, she initially thought about having an abortion, but she ultimately decided to have the baby. However, she did not show any joy when her youngest son was born, did not even want to hug him, and could not show genuine concern for her son. She intentionally left him at the hospital because she didn't want to have another child. This is so pitiful and irresponsible, it breaks my heart. Pearl's family did not object to Gabriel not being raised by Pearl due to her criminal history of child neglect and abuse. Gabriel's uncle, Michael Limos Carranza, and his partner, David Martinez, offered to care for Gabriel because they loved him and wanted to ensure he had a safe environment. Gabriel moved in with his uncle and was cared for 4 years. Gabriel's cousin, Emily Carranza, spent a lot of time with the boy as a child, and although she no longer lived with the family, she saw that Gabriel was truly happy with his uncles. Emily describes how Gabriel played and even helped Uncle Michael organize his birthday parties, demonstrating his love for his family. However, in 2009, Pearl's parents, Sandra and Robert, claimed that it was unsafe for Gabriel to live with 2 homosexuals, although there was no evidence to support this. They requested that Gabriel be moved to live with them, but there was no information about Gabriel being harassed while living with his uncle. Mr. and Mrs. Pearl's actions make people feel confused because if they were worried about Gabriel while living with his uncle, why didn't they object from the beginning? The fact that Gabriel's uncles are gay does not prove that the boy is in danger. Emily and some other family members do not believe in Michael's ability to cause harm because he loves Gabriel, and he enjoys living with them. Despite this, Michael did not object and let them take Gabriel away. Following that event, Gabriel lived with his grandparents, Sandra and Robert, for several years. In 2012, at just 8 years old, Pearl wanted to regain custody of Gabriel and her 2 other children because she knew she would receive additional welfare benefits if her children lived with her. Her desire was not out of love and concern, but purely for selfish and personal gain. Understanding her motive, Pearl's parents opposed this. However, ultimately the police confirmed that it was legal for Gabriel and his siblings to live with Pearl, but Pearl's family remained dissatisfied. Pearl had a history of neglect and child abuse. In 2003, she was in
another case of history of child abuse, and the police stopped them. That was like, no. The grandparents said, no, she has a history of neglect. She has a history of child abuse. But the people that's supposed to protect us, the communities, the citizens, said, no, they can go back with her.
Investigated for a car accident that injured her son due to not securing him in a seatbelt. In 2007, she was accused of hitting another son of hers. Other reports also mentioned that she starved her daughter and threatened to break her jaw if she cried. Despite being an abusive mother,
threatened to break her daughter's jaw. Car accident, injured the baby severely because she didn't buckle him down. But the kids still remained.
She was still allowed to regain custody of Gabriel, as there were no documents confirming that she had transferred custody to anyone else. This time, Gabriel moved back in with his 29-year-old mother, Pearl, and her 32-year-old boyfriend, Aguirre, at their apartment on East Avenue in Palmdale, California, along with his siblings Ezekiel, age 12, and Virginia, age 10. Izaro Aguirre, Pearl's boyfriend, had a troubled educational history, having failed 2 grades in school and eventually dropping out. He worked as a security guard at the private security company AVL, and previously, he had experience working at Vallarta Market in the security department. Before transitioning to security work, he was a driver and caregiver at Woodland Park Retirement Hotel. His colleagues at the hotel remarked that Aguirre was kind-hearted and always willing to help. Although these comments may be true, it does not rule out the possibility of other darker aspects of his personality that they were unaware of. Details about Pearl's employment during this period are unclear. She likely did not have a stable job. Before moving in with Pearl, Gabriel had been living with his uncles, who had shown special care and love for him. Gabriel thought he would be treated similarly while living with his mother and her boyfriend. However, what transpired in the new home was entirely the opposite of what he expected. The abuse and torture began. Gabriel began attending Summerwind Elementary School, and after some time, his teacher Jennifer Garcia noticed that something was not right with him. One day, Gabriel asked her if it was normal for a mother to hit her child, and if using a belt or a metal object to do so was normal. He also inquired if bleeding was normal. Jennifer was completely taken aback by these questions. She immediately reported the incident to the Child Abuse Hotline, and the case was assigned to social worker Stephanie Rodriguez. Despite Stephanie being tasked with ensuring Gabriel's welfare, he continued to show up at school with concerning injuries. Gabriel frequently missed school for days or even weeks at a time, and the teacher suspected that these absences were to hide his injuries. When Gabriel appeared with bruised lips, black eyes, and missing patches of hair, Jennifer asked him about the cause, and Gabriel said his mother had hit him in the mouth. Jennifer was shocked and unsure of what to do, so she contacted the school principal to report the situation. However, the principal could only report the incident without further investigation. Jennifer tried to contact the county police department, but no specific actions were taken.
Let's stop right there. Failed system, battered and broken, Gabriel Hernandez, 8 years old. Remember Rika, 8 years old. No love in these homes. Being reported. Patches of hair. Can y'all imagine an 8-year-old going to school with patches of hair missing where they just was pulling out his hair? Y'all know what it's like to have your hair yanked out of your head? Y'all know what it's like getting cigarettes burnt on your penis? Do you know what it's like? This baby had so many bruises that the doctors and the autopsy examiners ran out of tape. They didn't have enough tape for the bruises, the injuries. Taylor said this story was so horrible. OMG. Aren't we parents? When does it stop? See, we be like the school don't do enough, but some of them care. Jennifer said, okay, the principal reported it, but he didn't do enough. Let me report it to authorities. Nothing. We are on the West Coast now. We're going from Naziah in Detroit, failed system. We're going from Rika, Roundtree in Illinois. We're going to the West Coast. Gabriel Hernandez, let down, battered, broken, failed by our system. Thank you, D-Money. I appreciate you for saying we might need you one day, because see, nobody's speaking out about this. We too busy gaslighting situations where CPS is getting called, children are being snatched. See, in life, I always say, y'all, we just never know what's going to happen. You never know. In a matter of seconds, you don't know what's going to happen. Hey, happiness. Welcome, love. What is this year of these accounts? I'll go back to, I forget the year exactly, but yeah. Y'all great hear how battered and broken this baby was. And these are God's angels, because this baby was so precious. When y'all hear how he was still the bitch that battered him, the bitch that had him. Because see, just because you have kids again doesn't make you a mother. Let's remember that. Hey, Nika, my love. I come from a time I come from a time where you get in your neighbor's business to a certain point. If we saw this kind of stuff, we stepped in. Yeah. And shout out to Jennifer. Shout out to that teacher. Shout out to that teacher. Jamie, sis, I seen you come in.
Bill had to return to the abusive home every day. Gabriel was crying out for help, but it seemed like no one was listening. Jennifer said that Stephanie would record the information, but it appeared that she was not concerned about what she was reporting or what Gabriel was enduring. I am worried about the irresponsibility of the school and the social services when a child is facing danger and no.
That's what the teacher said. The teacher's like, I don't like how y'all handling this. As social workers, as principals, it has to be more done. Let me step up. She tried to save him. And the system, a failed system, shut her down.
And no resolution is provided. Gabriel became increasingly isolated from his classmates, feeling angry and sad at the end of the school day, and even saying he did not want to go home. Gabriel's mental state gradually declined, and he often showed up at school with injuries. In the weeks before his death, Gabriel looked truly terrible. His eyes were always swollen, the area around his eyes was bruised, and he had bruises and scales all over his body.
What is not said on here is said on the Netflix. He was so small, y'all. He didn't get to eat. He had to eat cat litter. That was his dinner for days and nights. For the care he remained with his mother, he ate cat litter. He had to eat the cat feces. He didn't get to eat the regular food that was cooked. She let it sit out for days until it was spoiled with mold on it. And that was his dinner when he wasn't eating the cat litter and the cat feces. And when he would puke it up, he was forced to eat it. So he lived off of vomit and feces and spoiled food. Y'all free to go do your research. Hey, CT, welcome from England. Welcome. Thank you. We have to save these babies, y'all.
The physical injuries were not only causing him physical pain, but also inflicted unbearable mental anguish. After being absent for a while, Gabriel returned to school, but things became even worse. The injuries on his body increased, both his eyes were bruised, and the skin on his forehead was severely peeling. When Jennifer saw this, she asked Gabriel about the cause, and he revealed that his mother had shot him in the face with a BB gun.
Thank you, Happiness. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And you're always welcome here. This is y'all home. This is a safe place for y'all. And we want it to be a safe place for those mothers that are going through something. It's okay not to be okay. And it's okay if you want to give those kids up just to get on your feet, just to get self-care. It's okay. Don't unalive them. Don't beat something that you brought into this world that didn't ask to be here. It's okay for us not to be okay. And y'all welcome CT from England for tuning in with us. Disturbing what's happening to these babies. It's happening here in England too. It's happening all over CT, but without voices. They don't have a voice. These kids are scared. We were scared as kids. When we broke something, when we dropped something, we were scared. This baby's going to school. Is it okay for my mama to hit me with metal things? Is it okay for me to bleed? He's crying out. Battered, broken, Gabriel Hernandez.
Gabriel also said that each time his mother called Child Protective Services, CPS, he would be more severely harmed. Imagine the pain Gabriel had to endure as he sought help only to be met with indifference and even more cruelty from his mother. He had to suffer silently, fearing the consequences of speaking out. It's heartbreaking to think about Gabriel's plight, and it's hard to hold back tears. One day, the class decided to do a project for Mother's Day, and Jennifer asked Gabriel if he wanted to participate. Despite regularly suffering abuse and mistreatment, Gabriel agreed. He wanted to give his mother a special gift for Mother's Day, hoping it would change how she felt and treated him. Gabriel longed for love from his mother, something he had never truly felt before. Gabriel wrote a card for his mother which read, "I love you, Mom. You are special because you are a loving mother. I love you because you are beautiful, with a gentle smile. I like making you laugh, and you are pretty like a flower." These...
Oh, did I forget to tell y'all that they shot him with BB guns in his penis? Everywhere on his body, from his penis, from his nutsack, from his toes to the top of his head, cigarette burns was all over young Gabriel's body. He was the ashtray for the cigarettes. He had to take cold showers, not hot. And when he would take a shower, they would take the BB gun and shoot him all over his body. They beat him with wooden bats. They punched him in his eyes so many times his eyes drooped. They stayed black and blue. Do y'all know the impact of getting hit in your eye? Why have children in your custody if you're going to abuse them? Let's let that sit there. See, sometimes we get in these relationships with these no good ass men because we didn't make the right choices, but we take it out on our babies. Sometimes the baby comes out looking like the man that did you wrong instead of, praying to God that you do better, find better. The baby becomes a punching bag until they're no longer a punching bag. They're ashes. She said, so sad. Yeah. Montrese, yeah. She said, my Jesus. Yeah, happiness. Yeah. These creatures, I cannot stomach this ish. Yeah. Let's get to it.
Words reflected Gabriel's hopes and expectations for a warm and loving relationship with his mother, something he had longed for and hoped would become a reality. The innocence and sincerity in his words are heart-wrenching. Deputy officers and many representatives from child abuse agencies visited Gabriel's home multiple times, but they claimed they never found enough signs of abuse to remove him from the home.
That's the awareness we're trying to raise, right? Every time they go in the home because their asses is overwhelmed with work. See, when we take on jobs, know the assignment. I say that about everybody. Everybody's not meant to be a nurse. Everybody's not meant to be a cashier. Everybody's not fucking meant to be a daycare worker. There's so many jobs you can stay behind the house. Dishwash. You're behind the house. You don't got to interact with too many people. Take your anger out on the silverware and the plates. If you have an attitude problem, you just mad every day, don't work in the front of the restaurant. Don't be a server. It's not you. That comes with compassion. These kind of things. And a mother is already compassionate. We're caring. We're nurturing. And I'm okay to say, y'all, at times I wasn't okay. So I found the way to make sure that my kids wasn't in danger from me not being okay. I made that conscious decision. But he was fighting for love, like, Mom, you're beautiful. Because he thought that letter, he thought that I love you, Mom. Despite everything you're doing to me at 8. He had no idea why she hit him, broke his teeth, shot him with BB guns in his nutsack, put her cigarettes out on him. But I love you, thinking that was going to stop him from getting hurt, feel loved.
And sometimes they even failed to write detailed reports about their visits. Some of them didn't even talk to Gabriel. Pearl and her boyfriend often said his injuries were caused by older kids around the neighborhood or that he was playing with other children in the house. They would simply use this excuse if Gabriel accidentally hurt himself in an accident.
Don't forget, y'all, don't overlook the fact that when the social workers came out, they failed to write it down. They just went like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, so Somebody in the neighborhood hit him. Okay. They never, all the times they went out there, they weren't writing shit down.
It's odd that these dubious excuses were accepted by the social workers who believed Pearl and her boyfriend's words. They had never directly seen the injuries on Gabriel's body. Is this really how they operate?
If you have a 700 plus credit score, you qualify.
It took that man say, is this really how they operate? Hey, Miss Groovy. Hey, Muffy. Hey, welcome, y'all. Happy Tuesday to y'all. The man said, is this really how y'all operate? When you doing these stories, you got to think like, really? It's mind-blowing.
For Chase is a new program where you can access up to 100.
It's profoundly disappointing. Gabriel's siblings mentioned that Pearl had instructed them to lie to social workers, and they complied out of fear that they would be mistreated like Gabriel. Pearl's sister, Melissa, was genuinely concerned for Gabriel because she knew how abusive Pearl could be. She frequently stayed overnight at the house trying to protect Gabriel and his siblings from abuse, but as soon as she left, everything would return to normal. Melissa felt powerless.
The oldest sister, because it was two boys, but the sister was the oldest, and she would dress him as a girl. Pearl would put girl clothes, put her clothes, the sister's clothes on young Gabriel. And the oldest sister would always, she would be scared. And she told the juror and the judge that she would be scared, but she would roll him some clothes up, some boy clothes, and put them in the backpack. And as soon as they got to school, she would change her brother. But she was scared that one day Pearl would find out that she's changing him at the school. It's insane to me that people can use CPS as harassment against people who don't do anything to harm their kids. But when it matters, those workers don't do their jobs every time. Every time. Everyone passes the buck and don't value or care about their job. Yeah. And y'all say hello to your neighbor. Make everybody feel welcome as when we go to theirs. We feel welcome there as well. But yeah, just so y'all know, the sister did pack him clothes because Pearl dressed him to make fun of him and stuff. She did that to antagonize him, said he looked gay. She always teased him like he looks like a girl and I'm gonna put a dress on you today. So he endured a lot more than what they're putting out on this video, but let's get to it.
And being just a teenager herself, she didn't know what else to do. The fact that many were aware of Gabriel's situation but did nothing to help him escape his circumstances is deeply troubling.
Nobody helped him. All them people that knew. And Gabriel also, it's a dresser drawer sitting right there. Y'all see that drawer? It's a cupboard. They had an old entertainment stand that wasn't this big, and that was his room. She locked him in there. He had a padlock with a key, and that's where he slept, in an entertainment stand every night. And for breakfast, he was to eat cat feces. For dinner, cat feces. He was to eat the whole litter box. He is going to say that. Hey, Jug, salute, happy Tuesday to you. He is going to talk about the litter box. Did y'all hear what I said? He's going to talk about this baby having breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a cat feces every day.
Why didn't they report to the police? A few months before his death, Gabriel wrote a letter saying he was leaving because his love was so great, and Pearl's sister sent the letter to the home counselor, but no action was taken. Pearl lied about the whole situation, and despite CPS being aware of every detail, Gabriel still had to face fear at school. One day he showed up with one swollen red eye, peeling skin, and multiple injuries. These injuries were not typical accidents, and Jennifer was frustrated by the lack of attention despite her repeated calls expressing concern. When
the teacher again, frustrated. All these CPS calls going unnoticed. This another baby that could have been saved, could have been here with us today. And I know, God, I know you got other plans for these babies. I know. It's just sad. I gotta save these kids. We have to save these babies. Where these people at that make them eat it today in jail and wherever they are?
When the deputy sheriff arrived, they blamed Gabriel and threatened that he would go to jail if he continued lying.
The deputy blamed him and told the deputy told this baby, if you keep lying, we're going to take you to jail. Jennifer, the teacher, called the deputies in. So he's not only scared of the bitch that brought him into this world, that's cracking his teeth out of his mouth with a fist, shooting his penis with BB guns, using his whole body as an ashtray, making him eat cat feces. But the sheriff told him if he keeps putting out these allegations, he will be going to jail. Are y'all okay today? Are y'all okay?
This shocked me because the adults who were truly at fault shifted the blame to an innocent child like Gabriel, only increasing the anxiety and helplessness surrounding his situation. On another occasion, Pearl visited the welfare office and a security guard noticed Gabriel holding a cigarette, with burn marks on his head and a bruise near his eye. The guard immediately realized something was wrong and reported it to his superiors. However, they refused to report it because they didn't want to work overtime. When the school inquired about Gabriel's frequent absences, Pearl claimed he had moved to Texas with his grandmother, and they believed her without further questions. It seems all the adults were indifferent to the boy, which ultimately led to his tragic death. On May 22, 2013, Pearl called 911, and the dispatcher asked her about the situation. Pearl calmly stated that her son was not breathing normally. Simultaneously, her boyfriend, Isauro, was also calling 911. He claimed that their son, Gabriel, 8 years old, was not breathing and had become unconscious after struggling with another child. As instructed, Isauro performed CPR and chest compressions on Gabriel. When emergency services arrived, Gabriel's brother was waiting to guide them to their second-floor apartment. Inside, they discovered Gabriel severely injured, naked, with a BB pellet embedded in his skull, along with numerous other injuries on his...
Y'all ever been shot with a BB? Because if you haven't, I'm here to tell you, it's extremely painful. BB gun embedded into this 8-year-old's head. He had so many BBs inside his skin where they were shooting him so much. In his body. He was so malnourished, the BBs was going through his skin. His body was full of BBs. What was he thinking? What was young Gabriel thinking when his body was getting used as an ashtray, when he had to eat cat feces, when he couldn't sleep? He never knew what a bed felt like. He missed all memory when he lived with his uncle and his grandmother of what a comfortable bed felt like, because remember, Pearl locked him into that wooden entertainment system with a padlock where he could only look through the crack to see everybody else outside, and family come over, he's inside the box. This story was so sad, and you're right. When it counts, they don't do their job, but they will take the child and children from a healthy household and leave the ones that are really going through it. Absolutely. 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 This baby.
His body. It was clear to them that Gabriel had been abused. Although Isauro had tried to perform emergency procedures over the phone, the medical personnel noticed that there were no visible injuries on Gabriel's face, clothes, or hands that matched Isauro's claims of an accident, leading them to suspect that Isauro was merely pretending to administer aid. Upon the arrival of the police, they found Pearl and her boyfriend arguing and behaving oddly. They claimed that Gabriel and his brother were merely playing, and that Gabriel had hidden himself under a coffee table. They also portrayed Gabriel as a habitual liar and homosexual, which puzzled the police as it seemed
Your baby's laying here unalived. His last hours, he was beaten to death by the hands of his mother with a wooden bat and the boyfriend. And when the police come, they don't say, hey, oh, he was, and he's gay. He was a liar. While the baby is sitting on her floor, unalived, her baby that she brought into this world that didn't ask to be here. Didn't ask to be here. This baby's unalived on your floor, and you say, and just so y'all know, he's a liar and he's gay. What? What? I mean, I know it's some monsters, but we can't even call these people monsters. Is that the definition of monsters? It ain't even the gruely type that we learned as kids. These are the monsters. Hey, Brother Nazir, salute to you. He wasn't breathing, but he moved with the grandmother. Which one is it? Salute, Shano. Come on, Miss Groovy. Where he was being loved and cared and attentive for through the uncle that is gay. To the grandparents, y'all failed Gabriel. To the principal of that school, you failed Gabriel. I have nothing to say about Pearl, and I have nothing to say about the monsters. To that sheriff, that gets paid to protect the communities, that told that baby, if you keep telling them people that they hit you, you're going to jail. You failed that baby. You unalived Gabriel. Y'all unalived that baby. Shout out to that teacher, Jennifer. Because she tried. She tried, y'all. That girl tried, and she tried. It's like watching, she watched them die. She was watching them die. Y'all know how much he weighed? Google it. How much weight do you really gain eating cat shit? We don't want to hear these stories, though. Right? We don't want to hear how these kids are being battered and abused and unloved, broken, actually abused, raped. Right? Them being hurt like a bitch. Yeah. Hey, Miss Denise, hey, sis. And you talking about him being homosexual and a liar. Make it make sense. She said, I remember this one. Yeah. As your baby's laying there dead on your floor. Just so y'all know he's a liar and he's gay. What? I guess.
Seemed unrelated to the situation. Afterward, Gabriel stopped breathing and was immediately transported to the hospital by ambulance. Notably, neither Pearl nor Zauro accompanied him, raising further suspicions among the police and medical staff. At the hospital, nurses documented Gabriel's condition as critical, with multiple injuries, missing teeth, severe swelling, and non-functioning brain activity. 2 days later, on May 24, 2013, Gabriel was declared brain dead. Pearl was arrested on May 23, 2013, for endangering and abusing a child after Gabriel was hospitalized. However, following Gabriel's death, the charges were elevated to murder with special circumstances of torture. Isauro was also initially charged with murder and special circumstances involving intentional killing through torture. An investigation into Gabriel's death commenced as people started to believe the severity of the accusations against Pearl. The autopsy took 2 days to complete, meticulously documenting each injury. Medical examiners found numerous injuries on Gabriel's body, including broken ribs, a BB pellet in his lung, subdermal hematomas, and extensive bruising. Gabriel's death was ultimately attributed to a pathological condition resulting from traumatic care or torture. This reflected the extent of child abuse and neglect, causing widespread grief and outrage at how a young boy like Gabriel endured such unwarranted suffering. The pathologist stated that he had never seen so many injuries on a child in the ward. Investigators began marking all the evidence at the scene with red stickers, but there were so many that they actually ran out of stickers and had to use yellow ones instead. They collected a baseball bat, a belt, a metal hook, and another baseball bat, all bearing traces of Gabriel's injuries.
Doing physical therapy for your dog's arthritis actually makes it worse. Here's what to do instead.
This is the most natural way to flush out doggy joint pain. When Kevin was 8, he started to slow down. He went from pulling on his leash to dragging behind me. He needed help getting into the car, and he even began to limp. I tried everything. Glucosamine chews, acupuncture, massages, heating pads, memory foam beds, and even physical therapy.
Let me stop right there for a minute.
It only got worse.
Did y'all hear what they said? The baby had so many bruises that they ran out of red tape. They had to start using yellow tape. Not only start using yellow tape, the baby had a bullet pellet in his lung. He was that malnourished. He was that malnourished. They said they never seen that many bruises on a patient ever. I think it was over 100. It was in the hundreds.
The investigators spoke privately with Gabriel's siblings, who both admitted they had been instructed to say that Gabriel was playing with his brother, but in reality, it was their mother and her boyfriend who were responsible for his death. They shared that Gabriel often faced severe punishment for not cleaning the cat's litter box properly. When Gabriel failed to please Pearl, he was forced to eat inappropriate things. Additionally, Gabriel was confined in a locked cupboard in Isaro's bedroom and was not...
When he didn't clean the cat litter good, that was his dinner. That was his punishment. Imagine a mother bringing a child into the world and your siblings eating a hot, warm dinner and you wondering why mold is on your food. And when he vomited it up from the poison of the mold and the spoiledness of the meat, and she would grind all of it up. She would blend it up and he would have to drink it. He didn't get to eat it normally. And when he vomited, that was his dinner again. Battered and broken. Yeah, they wanted him to die. Since everyone of authority believed their lies, they probably thought they was going to receive financial gain for the people who may have fallen for the lies. So sad. Yeah, this story, shaking my head. Shared you out. This is too much for my spirit right now. I'm sick and grieving. Praying for you, Muffy. Y'all make sure y'all put some praying in it, Muffy. I know. But I have to be a voice for the kids, y'all. It disturbs me. This was disturbing. I took some days off when I did this one. I think I took like a week off from doing YouTube. But somebody has to do it. And it's going to be me. I'm going to be the voice for these angels that are losing their lives too soon. So, I mean, go back to when we was 8. No voice. Nobody believe you.
Not allowed to use the bathroom. If Child Protective Services, CPS, had simply requested to speak directly with Gabriel and insisted on being taken to where he was, they would have found him in his dire state. However, CPS never did that. They never made a real effort to talk directly to Gabriel or to inspect the house thoroughly. Had they done so, they would have discovered that he was severely abused. Pearl and Isaro often imposed severe punishments on Gabriel whenever he exhibited any feminine qualities, especially when they were in a bad mood. Although both were abusive, Pearl was the mastermind behind the abuse. Isaro simply did what Pearl asked him to do. On the day Gabriel died, his siblings testified that Pearl and Isaro started beating Gabriel because he refused to pick up his toys. His siblings recalled that Gabriel was screaming, and then suddenly everything went silent. Gabriel's sister Virginia stated that after Gabriel became unconscious, they tried to revive him by giving him a cold shower. When he still did not wake up, they decided to call 911. Investigators reviewed the entire abuse case and found no prior arrests, so they investigated both the Los Angeles Department of Family and Children Services and the Sheriff's Department. In 2016, social workers Stephanie Rodriguez, Patricia Clement, and their supervisors Kevin Baum and Gregory Merritt were charged with child abuse and falsifying records in Gabriel's case. They were accused of downplaying evidence of Gabriel's actual abuse and falsely reporting that Gabriel's family situation was improving when, in fact, it was only getting worse. Stephanie claimed she was responsible for Gabriel's case, while also supervising other cases she deemed equally or more dangerous.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody needs to be held accountable. I don't know what nobody else is talking about, but everybody needs to be held accountable for this baby. Y'all wasn't even documenting it. All the calls. He had over 100 calls. Not 10, not 20, not 30. Over 100. That was huge, yeah.
Although social workers often have to manage heavy workloads, this does not excuse their neglect of Gabriel's abuse. Gabriel deserved to be safe, and they did nothing to protect him. Stephanie Rodriguez and Patricia Clement, along with supervisors Kevin Baum and Gregory Merritt, were dismissed and charged with child abuse and falsifying records. While these charges could have led to sentences of up to 11 years in prison, they were ultimately dismissed due to insufficient grounds. Prosecutors attempted to retry the case in January 2020.
So they was trying to hold him accountable. The judge was. They said insufficient. But we got to make these charges stick, y'all. They got to start making these charges stick. And also, in these kind of cases, there should be no immunity. There should be no immunity in these kind of cases at all. At all. It was so much outrage for this baby. Yeah. It was so much outrage. So, man, salute to those people out there in California that was walking around with signs and wanted everybody to go down. Everybody. See, you don't have to be family to love somebody, to show empathy and sympathy. That's a lot of people's problems. Ain't mine. I'll pray for that baby. That's so sad. And we move on. Not knowing that one day my grandbaby could be that Gabriel. My little cousin or one of my family members can be young Gabriel. I have a heart. I have a heart. These souls that we're seeing, they're so empty. They just have something beating in their chest. It's not a heart. And y'all remember that. Leave here and remember, you don't have to be family to love and sympathize and empathize with something. I treat Gabriel as if he was mine. That's how I look at that baby that's no longer with us. I look at Naziah as if she could have been one of mine. God, why you just couldn't? I would have loved on him. I would have loved on these babies. Yeah, times be hard when we can't really care for ourselves, but I would have loved them before they got taken out like this. I'd have took them in. I'd have loved on them. I'm going to play a little bit more and I'm going to get out of here. And you guys go check this out. The Gabriel Hernandez story on Netflix. It really gets deep. It really will be disturbing to the soul. Yeah.
But ultimately decided to drop the charges. Additionally, 9 deputies from the Sheriff's Department were internally disciplined for failing to properly investigate the abuse allegations. From 2003 to 2012, over 60 calls were made to CPS regarding Pearl. Yet she was only investigated 8 times with no significant actions taken.
Over
The
60.
Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS, stated that their primary goal was to preserve the family unit, and they failed to thoroughly investigate each call and report concerning Pearl and Izzaro's abuse of Gabriel. They tended to take Pearl and Izzaro's word for it, trusting Pearl despite her history and records of child abuse. However, after Gabriel's tragic death, DCFS embarked on a new era of reform. They hired over 3,000 additional social workers to reduce workload and retrain staff to better detect signs of abuse. DCFS acknowledged that a child's death should not have been necessary to address their shortcomings, and committed to improving their operations to better protect children. Despite these efforts, many people remain disappointed that the social workers were dismissed without facing legal penalties. While they were fired, there was a widespread sentiment that they should be held legally accountable and face stricter penalties to prevent similar mistakes in the future.
You don't need a fancy doorbell camera to secure your home.
The people was outraged.
Much better and
On May 23, 2013, Pearl and Izzaro were arrested. Pearl for child endangerment and Izzaro for murder. However, after Gabriel's death, both Pearl and Izzaro were charged with first-degree murder with special circumstances of torture, and prosecutors sought the death penalty. On February 15, 2018, Pearl pled guilty as part of a deal to avoid the death penalty, and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. During the trial, she said, "I want to say I'm sorry for what happened. I wish Gabriel was alive. Every day I wish I made better choices. I wish the best for my children." Izzaro did not plead guilty to first-degree murder with special circumstances of torture, and his case went to trial, prosecuted by Deputy District Attorneys Jonathan Hatami and Scott Yang. In September 2017, jury selection began. Potential jurors were given questionnaires and informed that the trial could last up to 6 weeks and involved severe internal and external injuries to the victim. The jury consisted of 7 women and 5 men. The trials and the subsequent reforms highlight both the severity of the abuse Gabriel suffered and the systemic failures that allowed such tragedies to occur. As the trial commenced, the jury was presented with detailed information about the severe abuse Gabriel had endured in the months leading to his death. Prosecutor John Hatami described Izzaro as pure evil and argued that he deserved the death penalty. In contrast, Izzaro's defense attorney John Allen portrayed him as kind-hearted and compassionate. During the trial, Gabriel's cousin Emily shared that the horrific photos of Gabriel's abuse were so disturbing that she almost had to leave the room. Izzaro's defense team attempted to shift the primary responsibility onto Pearl. One of Izzaro's lawyers, Michael, criticized Pearl and argued that she should bear the major responsibility for the events leading to Gabriel's death. However, Pearl's attorney similarly emphasized her role, creating a situation of mutual blame. Nonetheless, the judge concurred that Izzaro was a principal participant in the abuse, and almost certainly the mastermind, leaving no doubt that he had committed murder. The jury deliberations began on November 14, 2017, and a verdict was reached the next day. Ultimately, the jury convicted Izzaro of first-degree murder and torture. On December 11, 2017, they began deliberating the sentencing phase. The next day, the jury was deadlocked. But on December 13th, they returned a death sentence, which was accepted by Judge George G. Lomeli. The Trials of Gabriel Hernandez is a 6-part true crime documentary series that aired on Netflix in 2020. Directed by Brian Knappenberger, this documentary details the murder case of Gabriel Hernandez along with the reactions from the media and local government. The case of Gabriel Hernandez vividly illustrates the horrific consequences of child abuse and the fundamental failures of the child protection system to safeguard children. Through the heartbreaking story of Gabriel, we recognize the importance of enhancing child protection measures, both individually and systemically. There is a need to focus on improving social systems to timely detect and intervene in cases of suspected child abuse, as well as to strengthen education and create a safe environment for children everywhere. We must act to ensure that all children are protected and nurtured in a loving and safe environment.
Thank you so much, Players Only TV. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to keep touching on these stories. And I'm going to keep touching on these stories because it's more Gabriel Hernandez is out there. It's more Nazaire Harris is out there. Not only are we doing this to get rid of the monsters again, our system. They said they had 3,000. Y'all got to go to the year of what they said. And Rika Roundtree was way after Gabriel Hernandez. So apparently hiring 3,000 people didn't help. The witch wasn't sorry. Man, I mean, the fact that she said, oh, yeah, I want to say, tell my baby sorry. He's no longer here. Sick witch. He's no longer here. When he wrote you that letter in school and said, Mom, I love you. You're a beautiful flower. Because he wanted to be loved, even though you was breaking his teeth out of his mouth, putting cigarettes out on every part of his body, to where the autopsy had to use different color tape. They ran out of tape. Do y'all know how much tape they had to mark on your body? Broken ribs. Brain injury. Black eyes. Hair put out of his head. Human ashtray. Body full of bullets and feces. That's the story of Battered, Broken Gabriel Hernandez. Thank you guys so much for pulling up with me today. This was not to disturb souls, but to bring awareness. But I understand the severity of this. Y'all have seen nothing or heard nothing yet till you see the salute to that man that produced that story on Netflix and really brought awareness, and salute to those people in California. The outrage was tremendous. The outrage was tremendous. And they wasn't outraged just with Pearl's stinking ass. They was outraged with the system. Y'all charged the deputies. Y'all reprimanded the deputies, but y'all let the people in the system that was set there to not write nothing, not talk to young Gabriel, not save his life, y'all let them go. Y'all dismissed it. Too cautious, spark investigation. Because no matter what, if you don't want the child, there are too many people who will take those babies and love them down. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank y'all again for all the support. Thank y'all for helping me reach my goal today. Thank y'all for just being here, giving me y'all time, just a little bit of y'all time. I appreciate each and every one of y'all, because this means so much. These cases mean so much. And Queen Judah said, Miss Parker, you want to help kids. You want to say to kids, that's your purpose. It's my divine. I don't know, Queen Judah, but I'm here to save. If I could save everybody, I wish. And I don't know what y'all do, but I be asking God sometimes, like, what's my purpose? He got me through drug addiction, which I should have been dead many a times. When I had an ectopic pregnancy, I should have been dead. When I battled the breast cancer, and that was like, your white blood count cells, you're dying. But God got me through. Still battling addiction. God got me through. And I say, God, what's my purpose? What do you want from me? What you want? What do you want from me? Why give the assignment to somebody else? I just want to live. I just want to go on vacation. Miss Parker, sit still. And I get it. It's an assignment for all of us. It's a purpose. And I still don't know which direction, but sometimes I feel it. And when it's on me, I just got to talk about it. Or I just, you know what I'm saying? If it hits my heart, I just got to do this. So, again, you don't have to be family to show empathy and sympathy. If it's set on your heart, talk about it. It's okay. And to those mothers out there, to those fathers, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. Even if you don't have children, y'all, it's okay for us not to be okay. We don't know how to deal with our anxiety, our depression, all of that. It's okay for us to wake up and not be okay today. And I'm saying it because we unaliving ourselves. We have our kids unaliving themselves now. Not knowing how to deal with bullies. There's so much going on. So much to talk about. With so little voices that's talking about it. And I want to talk about it. She wasn't sorry. She's sorry. She was caught. Absolutely. She got away with it for so long. He endured that abuse, y'all, for 8 years. 8. I sent you a DM. Okay, Rob. Okay. I'll check it. Y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all Tuesday. I'll see you guys. Hopefully, I'll see each and every one of y'all back with me at 7 o'clock as we go down the rabbit hole. Tomorrow, I'm going to do Ayanna Sawyer. Another monster. Another predator. Another angel gone so soon, never to be found. Another auntie involved. Just don't be not okay alone. Reach out and talk to someone. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Groovy, for adding it on there. This story takes me every time. And everybody that came in that knows the story was like, this was the sickest, saddest story. God is awesome, yes. Amen, Miss Tammy. Just go with what you know. Do the one with the 4 brothers. Miss Groovy, leave it outside on the comments so I can go check it out. I don't know which one it is, or put it right here real quick. Because they're going to get some work done on the house. So it's going to be a lot of noise. So I didn't want it to interfere and stuff like that. But again, shout out to the state of California and everybody that came from around the world that was fighting for this baby. Y'all loved him. And I wish that somebody would have loved him before his end. I wish I could have got to him quicker, but God got other plans for these babies. But see, it's called Judgment Day. We can feel this type of way about these 6 situations, but we ain't got to worry about y'all. Because y'all got an answer to this. See, jail's not enough to me. But I know they got an answer to somebody. Each one of them. Pearl, I have no words. I have no words, y'all. But y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all Tuesday. Thank y'all so much for hitting that like button. Thank you to those that shared. Thank you to my Beef Sector family for coming through, showing love. Thank you to the Mo 3 Sector family that came through, my Rock Squad family that came through. And if you're from another sector, thank you guys so much for coming through. Okay, I hope to see you guys back here with me at 7 o'clock. Thanks. Oh, and shout out to Lady Nika for the membership. Thank you, Lady Nika.